Welcome to day 2 of our fall prevention series. Another part of preventing falls is practicing center of gravity. There are 3 key items to keep in mind for center of gravity. We covered foot awareness on day 1. Shifting your weight and trusting yourself are the other 2 essential pieces. Throughout the day, we move in many ways that require us to shift our center of gravity, maybe without even noticing it. In today's video, we will practice transferring our weight in a number of ways. You will also be encouraged to trust yourself, so pay attention to what gets challenging for you. Let's get started. I have a chair with me today, and I also have some weights, and those are optional, all right? We're gonna stand in front of our chair, and we're gonna bring our right foot in front and have a staggered stance. So I'll just turn to the side just so you can see. Our feet are just a little bit apart from each other. And we're gonna place a lot of pressure in through the left leg. So the right foot is forward, a lot of pressure through the left leg, and we're gonna slowly bend down and come all the way into the chair. All right, and now we're gonna do the same as we come out. Lots of pressure in that left foot to stand us on up. All right, so I want you to practice this a few times. Lots of pressure in the left leg as we scoot on down. Barely any weight is coming into that front foot, so we stand on up. All right, and you might notice even as we're doing this that, I do favor one side a little bit more than the other. And that's very natural, very normal thing to do when we have injuries or we are trying to get over an injury or something is just coming on that we're not unsure of. Let's do 2 more. We do tend to compensate, so, all right. One more time, all the way up and all the way down. All right, we're gonna switch the feet now. So the left foot is in front, lots of pressure down and through that right foot as we scoop ourselves out of the chair and then slowly come right back down. So again, pushing through that right leg, barely any weight in through the front foot. Good, a couple more here. Last 2. And you just go at your own pace too. If I'm moving at a different pace than you're comfortable, you can just go at your own speed. All right, we are gonna scoot out and come out of the chair. We're gonna come all the way behind the chair, in fact. We're gonna hold on to the chair. We're nice and close to the chair. Feet are wider than the chair legs, as you can see, and your toes are pointed out just a little bit. All right, we're gonna come into a squat. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna shift all our weight over to our right leg, so straighten out your left leg, and then we're gonna shift all the weight over to our left, straightening our right. So pretend you're like on a bleacher or a bench, and you're not in the right spot, so you're scooting down just a little bit. That is essentially what we're doing. We've not lifted our body up yet. We're just building nice and strong legs here and shifting the weight. Just notice what it feels like when we're over to the right. Picture in your mind what it looks like in your left foot when we're over to the left. Lots of pressure, perhaps the toes are even changing color. Foot is changing color just a little bit. All right, a couple more. Good, let's stand on up. Step your feet in carefully, shake out the legs. I'm gonna turn the chair to the side for our next move. I want you to look at your toes and we're gonna cover up our cover up our toes with our knees. So push your knees all the way forward so that when you look down, you can't see your toes. You can see that nice angle up the lower leg. We're gonna gently lift our heels up off the floor. So from all those squats just now and from the sliding back and forth, you probably have your legs feeling a little nice and warm. That's great. But just notice the shift of the weight forward. And you can even see my body's shifted forward, all right? All right, now stand on up. We are going to shift our weight into our heels. Try to keep your toes on the floor. Standing nice and tall, leaning back just a little bit. And if you can, a gentle toe raise. So again, picture the heels, what they look like inside your shoes. They're pressed down really firmly. The only thing that is in contact with the floor right now are your heels. Let's do it again. So feet flat on the floor, cover those knees, cover those toes up with your knees. You can just see my whole body shifting forward, and then gently lift the heels. All right, stand on up, scoot back, standing nice and tall, heels grounded, and gently lift the toes. All right, so we're going to do it once more. Practically thinking, all right, if you are a downhill skier or have ever downhill skied, your knees go forward, right? And your weight is into your toes. So our center of gravity shifts to the front of the body. All right, standing up, if you bring your feet a little wider and bring yourself into a squat, our center of gravity shifts to the back. Our toes are lifted, our hips are back, and the pressure is down through our heels. So those are just two examples, right? Where our center of gravity shifts and we bring it into a different part of our body. We're going to now bring this chair back to the front. And we're going to continue with some squats. So take the feet out nice and wide. And we're going to sit back in the hips like I just mentioned. Pressure down and through the heels, and we're going to keep those toes lifted inside your shoes. All right, so toes are lifted, hips are going back and down. Just standing and squatting here. Keep all 5 toes lifted. They have no contact with the floor. Keep going. Good, last one here. All right, we're going to take our feet a little wider. This is a wider squat. And now we're going to press down through the blades of our feet, and we're going to lift the arches of our feet. So if you can picture your pinky toe all the way to the back of the heel, everything is on the ground, but the arches, the inside of your feet, are lifted, right? See how that feels. Toes, just your pinky toes are pressed down, just the blades are pressed down, and just the heels are pressed down. Good, breathing. All right, last one here. Perfect, we're gonna bring the feet in, shake out your legs just a little bit. I'm gonna come to the side, and we're gonna do a rocker squat. So bring your feet a little wider than your hips, and we're gonna come down. We're gonna shift the center of gravity to our toes because we're gonna lift our heels, rock forward on our toes, rock back on our heels, lift the toes, and then we stand on up. So we come down, rock forward, rock back, and stand up. So you can picture that rocking motion as if you were in a rocking chair, right? But you can also feel the center of gravity shifting forward and shifting back before we have a stand. Good, let's do a couple more here. Shift it forward, shift it back. Last time. Perfect. All right, step in and shake out. Let's go ahead and grab our weights. You can choose any size weights for what we're gonna do next. We are going to take our left tip toes and just bring them behind. And I'll show you from the side. Your left tip toes are roughly right around your right heel, about the same distance back. Take a nice big shoulder roll up, back, and around. We're standing nice and tall. Our center of gravity is between those 2 feet, all right? We're centered left and right. We are also centered front to back, okay? We're just gonna do a simple curl, up and down. Try to keep the weight right in between the 2 feet. And you'll see the difference in just a moment when we switch things up. Oftentimes, what I see is people leaning back, and you can see what happens with your low back. You shift everybody, people sometimes shift their weight forward and back when we're doing biceps or another exercise. But we want to keep our heel off the ground and we want to stay centered between those 2 feet. Upper body doesn't move. Center of gravity doesn't move here. Let's do a few more just like this and then we'll switch gears. Perfect. Roll the shoulders. Bring the feet now outside the hips just a little bit. We are going to bring the weights to the shoulders and we're going to slide that right foot behind us now. Now we're going to shift our weight forward. So our right tiptoes are barely on the floor. If we press overhead, we're standing nice and tall. And I will turn to the side. All right, standing nice and tall. We're not leaning back because see what happens to your low back, or even putting that foot on the floor that arches our low back, places a lot of pressure on our low back to do more than it needs to. So for our standing overhead press, if this is an exercise that you see in class, you want to place all your pressure, center of gravity over that front foot, and there's barely any weight in that back foot. So those are just a few exercises where you can see the center of gravity makes a big difference. Let's set those down. Makes a big difference when we are doing our exercises. We don't want to overload the back, the low back, and we want to keep everything even and sometimes forward, sometimes back. We're going to do some lunges now. So take your left leg behind you. We're going to keep our left heel off the floor, and I'll show you from the side. Nice long stride back. All right, we're going to bend and stand. So your back knee is going to drive towards the floor, and you look, right? My center of gravity is right in between the 2 legs, just like we did a moment ago with our bicep curls. Now, if I step in for a backward stepping lunge, my center of gravity can stay forward, gives you a completely different feel, or it shifts to the back. So we can stay forward. If the instructor says to stay forward, your center of gravity stays forward. Or if it comes back with the leg as you move back. All right, just practice a few of those and just notice the difference. There's a lot of balance that's incorporated into these moves, and we'll get to that on another day as well. So lunges, biceps, shoulders, we did it all. Let's go ahead and practice bringing our right foot in front of us, and we're going to come up to our tiptoes and pull back to our heel. Up to the tiptoes, pull back to the heel. So this is another nice move where you can realize your center of gravity is moving with you. All right. And if you're comfortable, you can lift one foot off. As you come forward, lift off. As you pull back, lift off. If you feel comfortable separating the feet a little bit more, you can notice that your center of gravity shifts as you move. Good, let's do a few more. Perfect. Let's even things out and bring the left foot in front. Do the same thing. Reaching and pulling. Last 2. And last 1. Good. All right. Roll through the shoulders. I'm going to step behind the chair for our next move. And if you need the chair for support, go ahead. So we can hold on for support, obviously, or not. All right. We're going to rock to one side, rock to the other. So oftentimes I see people doing a leg lift when I do this movement, but it's not a leg lift. We are actually shifting our center of gravity over that leg and just letting the foot float off the floor. So again, holding onto the chair. If you're comfortable, you can hold on to your hips. You can also bring your arms out to the side. And you can slow it way down. Hold. Hold. Just a couple more. Practicing that center of gravity, shifting from side to side. Perfect. All right, shake out your legs just a little bit. We're going to bring our feet a little wider than the chair legs once more. This is our final exercise for this series. You can hold on to the chair if you'd like, or eventually let go. Okay, we're going to do some hamstring curls. So again, look at my center of gravity. We've shifted over to one leg, and then we've shifted to the other. So feet are nice and wide as we stand and shift our weight. Again, using the chair if you need, otherwise you can pull the elbows back. And just notice how it feels in through the foot. Lots of pressure as you lean to the side. The entire foot is pressed down into the shoe. Good, let's do 3, 2, and 1 each side. Good. Shake out your legs. Thank you so much for joining me on day 2. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.